Three sides to every tale we tell. The truth is here, it's ringing bells.
All right, let's dive right into Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. It's a book that really promises to kind of, change how you think about life, especially when things get tough.
Right.
You're probably here listening to this deep dive because, well, we all want a bit more meaning in our lives, don't we?
For sure.
And who better to guide us than someone who found meaning in some of the, hardest situations imaginable?
That's right. Frankl's book is part memoir, part, I guess you could say, manifesto. It's a really powerful combination of personal experience and serious philosophical thinking.
It really is. And we're going to explore both sides of that in this deep dive. We'll start with Frankl's experience as a prisoner in those Nazi concentration camps. But before we get into that, I want to share an anecdote that really kind of sets the stage for everything. Imagine you're Frankl in 1938. You're a young psychiatrist, got a promising career ahead of you. You even have a visa to escape to America. World War II is looming, on the horizon. But then you find a piece of marble. It's inscribed with the words, "Honor thy father and thy mother." It's a, potent reminder of your duty to your aging parents.
Yeah, a powerful reminder.
Yeah. So this is where Frankl makes a choice that really kind of foreshadows everything his book is about. He chooses to stay in Vienna, knowing full well the dangers that are waiting for him and his family.
Talk about facing difficult circumstances head on.
Right. It's almost like he just knew, on some level, that meaning is often found in choosing responsibility, even when it's really hard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that sense of responsibility becomes, well, even more crucial when he enters the concentration camps.
So let's go there now. Paint us a picture. What was life like for Frankl in those camps?
Well, imagine being stripped of everything. Your possessions, your identity, your freedom. Frankl writes about the constant hunger, the chilling selections, where guards decided who would live and who would die. Just like that, with a flick of their wrist.
It's terrifying.
He describes the psychological toll it took, the shock, the apathy, and the constant struggle to hold on to any hope amidst all that suffering.
It's just, mind-boggling to me how anyone could find meaning in an environment that was so dehumanizing. But that's exactly what Frankl did, right?
He did. And this is where his theory of logotherapy starts to come into the picture. He observed that the prisoners who found a reason to live, even if it was, a tiny flicker of meaning, they were more likely to survive.
Interesting.
It might have been a memory, a loved one, a future goal, or even just a task they felt responsible for completing.
So even in the middle of all those horrors, finding meaning acted as a kind of shield, a buffer against the dehumanizing forces all around them. That's amazing.
It is. And it really shows one of the main ideas of logotherapy, that our primary drive as humans, it isn't pleasure, it isn't power, it's meaning. We're wired to seek it out, even in the most challenging situations.
I think that's something we can all relate to, even if we've never faced anything close to what Frankl endured. We've all had moments where life throws us a curveball. And it's that search for meaning that helps us get through.
Exactly. And that's what makes Frankl's work so relevant today. It's not just about surviving extreme situations. It's about finding a reason to get out of bed every morning, a reason to face our own challenges, a reason to keep going when things get tough.
I completely agree. Would you say that Frankl's experiences in the camps were like a crucible, where his theory of logotherapy was really forged?
Absolutely. He saw firsthand how the human spirit could be crushed by a lack of meaning. But he also saw how it could be elevated and strengthened by finding it.
Okay, so we've established that meaning is essential, but how do we actually find it? Frankl's theory gets into the specifics of this, right?
It does. And one of the key concepts he introduces is this idea of neugenic neuroses.
Neugenic neuroses? That sounds pretty intense. What exactly does that mean?
Well, think about it this way. Traditional neuroses, they often stem from internal conflicts, repressed desires, unresolved traumas, that sort of thing. But neugenic neuroses are different. They come from a kind of existential vacuum, a lack of meaning in life.
So instead of being driven by, unconscious desires, these neuroses are about wrestling with the big questions, the meaning of life, our purpose, our place in the universe.
Exactly. And this is where logotherapy comes in. It's a form of therapy specifically designed to address those existential questions, to help people find meaning and purpose, even when life feels chaotic or absurd.
So how does that work? Does the therapist just tell you what the meaning of life is?
Not at all. Logotherapy isn't about handing you a prepackaged meaning. It's about guiding you toward discovering your own unique meaning, your own reason for being. It's about helping you uncover the meaning that's already there, within you, waiting to be revealed.
That's fascinating. I think everyone listening probably has their own idea of what a meaningful life looks like. But sometimes it's hard to connect that vision with our everyday reality, especially when we're facing challenges.
That's true. And this is where some of the specific techniques of logotherapy come into play. Techniques like paradoxical intention and dereflection. We'll dive into those a bit later. These techniques are designed to help us shift our perspective, challenge our assumptions, and ultimately to connect with the meaning that's already present in our lives.
So even if we feel lost or purposeless, logotherapy suggests that meaning is always within reach, just waiting to be discovered. I love that.
It's a message of hope and empowerment. And it all starts with recognizing that even amidst suffering, even in the darkest of times, we have the freedom to choose our attitude, to find meaning, and to live a life that is rich and fulfilling.
You know, it's one thing to say find meaning, but how do we actually do that? Especially when we're feeling lost or stuck, or just overwhelmed by life's challenges. This is where those techniques you mentioned come in, right? Paradoxical intention and dereflection.
Exactly. These techniques are like tools in a toolkit. Each one is designed to help us shift our perspective and uncover meaning in new and sometimes surprising ways.
Okay, so let's start with paradoxical intention. This one sounds a bit, well, counterintuitive. Can you break it down for us?
Sure. Imagine you're struggling with insomnia. You're lying in bed, willing yourself to sleep. But the more you try, the more elusive sleep becomes. It's like you're trapped in a cycle of frustration and anxiety. Paradoxical intention flips that script.
How so?
Well, instead of trying to force yourself to sleep, you do the opposite. You actively try to stay awake, challenge yourself to keep your eyes open as long as possible. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out.
Okay, I'm listening. I've definitely been there, staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m.
We've all been there. But by embracing that fear of staying awake, by intentionally leaning into that anxiety, you're essentially taking away its power. You're short-circuiting that cycle of worry and tension that's keeping you from sleep.
So it's like you're outsmarting your own anxiety by doing the very thing you're afraid of.
Exactly. And often by letting go of the struggle, by surrendering to the possibility of staying awake. Sleep kind of sneaks in the back door. The key is to embrace the fear, not fight it.
That's so interesting. And I imagine this technique could be applied to other fears and anxieties as well.
Absolutely. Frankl used paradoxical intention to help people overcome a wide range of challenges, from phobias and panic attacks to performance anxiety and even stuttering. The principle is the same. Confront the fear directly, exaggerate it, even welcome it.
Okay, so let's say I have a fear of public speaking. Would I use paradoxical intention by telling myself, I'm going to completely bomb this presentation. Everyone's going to laugh at me.
Precisely. By embracing that worst-case scenario, you're taking away its power to paralyze you. You're essentially saying, even if I do mess up, even if people do laugh, it's not the end of the world. I can handle it.
I love that. It's like you're giving yourself permission to fail, which paradoxically makes you less likely to fail.
Exactly. And it also helps to inject a little humor into the situation. Laughter can be a powerful antidote to anxiety.
Okay, so that's paradoxical intention. What about dereflection? You mentioned that one earlier as well.
Right. Dereflection is another incredibly useful technique. It's all about shifting your attention outward, away from yourself and your own problems.
So instead of dwelling on our anxieties and insecurities, we're redirecting that energy towards something outside of ourselves.
Exactly. Frankl believed that excessive self-absorption is a major source of neurotic suffering. We get so caught up in our own heads, analyzing every thought and feeling, that we lose sight of the bigger picture.
It's like being trapped in a mental echo chamber, where all you hear are your own worries and fears bouncing around.
That's a great way to put it. And dereflection is about breaking out of that echo chamber. It's about connecting with something larger than yourself, something that gives you a sense of purpose and meaning. This could be a creative pursuit, a meaningful relationship, a cause you believe in, or even just appreciating the beauty of nature.
So it's about finding something that draws you out of yourself, something that helps you forget your own troubles for a while.
Yes. And it's not about ignoring your problems or pretending they don't exist. It's about shifting your focus, broadening your perspective, and remembering that there's a whole world out there beyond your own internal struggles.
You know, this makes me think of those times when I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed, and I go for a walk in nature. It's like my worries just melt away as I focus on the trees, the sky, the birds singing.
That's a perfect example of dereflection in action. By immersing yourself in the beauty of nature, you're shifting your attention away from your own inner turmoil. and connecting with something larger, something awe-inspiring.
And it doesn't have to be nature, right? It could be anything that engages your attention and helps you feel a sense of connection and purpose.
Exactly. It could be volunteering your time to a cause you believe in, spending time with loved ones, losing yourself in a creative project, or even just focusing on your work with a renewed sense of dedication and purpose. The key is to find something that pulls you out of your own head and helps you connect with something meaningful outside of yourself.
It's almost like by helping others, by contributing to something larger than ourselves, we're also helping ourselves.
That's a great insight. And it's something that Frankl emphasized repeatedly. He believed that meaning is often found in self-transcendence, in moving beyond our own, narrow, egocentric concerns, and connecting with something greater.
This is all so fascinating, but I have to admit, sometimes I get a little stuck in my own head. It's like, I know I should focus on something meaningful, but I don't even know where to start. Any advice for those of us who struggle with that?
That's a great question. And it's something that Frankl addressed as well. He believed that everyone has a unique meaning to fulfill, a unique contribution to make to the world. But sometimes we need a little help uncovering that meaning, and that's where the third technique comes in: Socratic dialogue.
Socratic dialogue, like the ancient Greek philosopher.
That's right. Socrates was famous for his method of questioning. He believed that true knowledge resided within each individual, and that through skillful questioning, he could help people access that knowledge.
So instead of providing answers, he was guiding people toward their own insights.
Exactly. And Frankl adapted this method for logotherapy. He believed that through careful questioning, a therapist could help people uncover their own unique meaning and purpose.
So it's not about the therapist telling you what to do with your life. It's about them helping you discover what you truly value, what you're passionate about, what gives you a sense of fulfillment.
Exactly. It's a collaborative process of self-discovery. The therapist acts as a guide, asking thought-provoking questions that help you explore your own inner landscape and uncover your own hidden treasures.
Can you give us an example of what this might look like in practice?
Sure. Imagine you're feeling lost and purposeless. A logotherapist might ask you questions like, what were you passionate about as a child? What activities make you feel truly alive? What are your strengths and talents? What do you want your legacy to be?
It's like those questions are little keys that unlock hidden doors within us, leading to a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And through this process of self-exploration, you might discover a hidden passion you'd forgotten about, a talent you've been neglecting, or a calling you never even knew existed.
It's like those seeds of meaning were always there, just waiting for the right conditions to sprout and blossom.
Exactly, and Socratic dialogue provides those conditions. It's a gentle yet powerful way to nurture those seeds and help them grow into something truly meaningful.
Okay, so we've got these three amazing tools: paradoxical intention, de-reflection, and Socratic dialogue, each designed to help us access the meaning that's already present in our lives. But what if we're facing a really difficult situation? Something that feels utterly meaningless and hopeless? Can logotherapy help us find meaning, even in the midst of suffering?
That's a profound question, and one that goes to the heart of Frankl's work. He believed that even in the darkest of times, even in the face of unimaginable suffering, we have the freedom to choose our attitude and to find meaning.
That's a powerful message, especially coming from someone who endured the horrors of a concentration camp.
It is, and it's a message that challenges us to confront the difficult realities of life without succumbing to despair. Frankl believed that suffering is an inevitable part of the human experience, but it doesn't have to define us. We always have a choice in how we respond to it.
So it's not about denying the pain or pretending everything is okay. It's about finding a way to make meaning out of the suffering, to find a reason to keep going, even when it feels impossible.
Exactly. And Frankl believed that this is where our true strength lies, in our ability to choose hope over despair, to find meaning even in the face of tragedy.
I'm really curious to explore this idea further. How did Frankl himself find meaning in the midst of such unimaginable suffering? And how can we apply his insights to our own lives, our own challenges? You know, it's kind of wild to think about. Frankl found meaning not just like in spite of his suffering, but almost because of it. It's like going through that fire forged something really powerful within him.
Yeah. He actually talks about finding meaning in 3 specific ways. During his time in the camps, through his work, his love for his wife, and his attitude towards suffering itself.
Okay, I can see how his work would provide meaning. I imagine even in the camps there were opportunities to use his skills as a psychiatrist.
To help others, right?
Right. He secretly provided counseling to other prisoners, just offering a listening ear and some words of encouragement. And that act of service, even in that limited context, it gave him a sense of purpose.
Yeah, I get that. And his love for his wife, that's a powerful one. It is. He would cling to memories of her, imagining conversations. He drew strength from their bond. This love transcended the physical barriers of the camp, and it became a source of inner freedom and resilience for him.
It's like love became his anchor in the middle of a storm. But finding meaning in suffering itself, that one feels almost paradoxical. How do we even begin to wrap our heads around that?
Well, Frankl believed that suffering, while obviously never desirable, has the potential to kind of, refine us.
Yeah.
It can deepen our empathy, clarify our values, and help us appreciate how precious life really is. He even said, suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning.
Whoa. So it's all about how we choose to interpret and respond to suffering. That determines the real impact it has on us.
Exactly. Frankl wasn't trying to sugarcoat the horrors of the camps, but he also saw that even there, people had the power to choose their attitude. They could just succumb to bitterness and despair, or they could find ways to grow, to help others, to maintain their dignity.
It's like even when so much had been taken away, they still had that freedom to choose their inner response. That's incredibly empowering. But how do we actually cultivate that kind of resilience, especially when we're facing our own personal challenges?
Well, Frankl gives us a few powerful ideas. One is to focus on what we can control, even if it's just our attitude. Another is to find meaning in the everyday, in acts of kindness, moments of beauty, just connections with loved ones.
It's like those small acts of meaning making. They can build up into something much larger over time.
Right. And remember, Frankl wasn't saying we should go looking for suffering. He was saying that when it inevitably comes, as it does for all of us, we have a choice. We can let it break us, or we can let it make us stronger.
It's about turning our wounds into wisdom.
Yeah.
And our pain into purpose.
Yes. And this leads us to another one of Frankl's important concepts, tragic optimism. It's this idea that we can embrace the inherent difficulties in life. We can acknowledge the darkness and still find reasons to hope, to laugh, to love, to find meaning.
It's like finding a way to dance in the rain, to find joy even when the clouds are dark.
I love that. That's a beautiful way to put it. And this brings us back to Frankl's idea of the super meaning. He realized that some questions, like why do innocent people suffer, might never have fully satisfying answers for us, at a human level.
Yeah, there are limits to what we can understand.
Exactly. But Frankl suggested that faith in a super meaning, a kind of larger purpose beyond our comprehension, can give us comfort and motivation, even when we don't have all the answers.
So it's okay to, acknowledge the mystery, to hold on to that tension of not knowing, and still find a way to move forward with hope and purpose.
That's exactly it. And that's the real heart of what Frankl is offering us, a framework for facing life's challenges. With courage, with resilience, and with an unwavering commitment to finding meaning, even in the most unexpected places.
This has been such a thought-provoking deep dive. I feel inspired to look at my own life with fresh eyes, to embrace the challenges, to look for those small acts of meaning-making, and to trust that even in the darkness, there's always a light to be found.
That's the power of Frankl's work. It doesn't give us, easy answers, but it gives us the tools and the mindset to face all of life's complexities with courage and a deep sense of purpose.
We hope this deep dive into man's search for meaning has given you a renewed sense of possibility and a deeper understanding of your own ability to find meaning, no matter what challenges you're facing. Until next time, keep searching, keep exploring, and keep embracing the extraordinary journey of your own life.
Welcome to the show we're in. News to share, where to begin. Free sides to every tale we tell. The truth is here, it's ringing bells. Dive in deep, let's take a look in every twist and turn we took. For glory lies within the truth. We're chasing facts, it's our pursuit.